Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I am your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pine Hills Palace here in Central Florida, just west of Orlando, Florida, north of Miami. I have in the Extreme Studios on the line with me tonight from the Great Midwest, one RDV. And tonight we are tackling something out of the norm for he and I.
Yeah.
And that is we're going to be talking about Miami Vice, all of season one, episode by episode. And we're going to start with season one, episode one from 1984, The Brothers Keeper, a two-parter TV movie that RDV, I just want to start by saying that I clearly watched this growing up. There were shows that I liked that didn't like. Some were
Yep.
goofy, some were campy. This had a vibe that I cannot stress to you enough how prevalent it's turned Miami into. All the stuff that you can think about with Michael Mann when we've talked about Thief or even the movie from 2006. I love this show. It means a lot to me. I'm really excited to be talking about it with you. I understand that we're going to have some photos that we may be going through and taking a look for as well. That's awesome. For you people joining the extremists, if you got any particular thoughts and all that, especially your old timers, it'd be great to hear them. This show's pretty remarkable, and honestly, RDB, is the popular things that were out there, and sometimes we reference them when we're doing our reviews. This is kind of brand new what they did at the time, putting pop music in it, the color scheme, trying to make it look as high defined as possible with all that. Again, this is before what they would call premium TV on HBO with everything in it too. So. Initial thoughts about the series and in general, for at least this episode from what your watch. I know you bought the disc and you started watching it recently.
Yeah, I've actually been watching. I had the disc collection, so it's like 20 disc collection. Yeah,
nice.
Which actually has the pilot episode as one episode. I know there's confusion because some people have seen it split in the two-part, but actually it was actually released as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
A TV movie, went for like an hour and a half, and then later on in repeat syndication, they broke it into two parts for TV, so you could have more airtime.
Exactly, pretty standard practice for the time.
Yeah, I was looking it up. Like this show started about a couple months before I was even born, almost a year. September 16th, 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost thought about, hey, we should just review these on the day they came out.
No, exactly. It's a thought, right? And the interesting to me about it is, we don't normally get into all those kinds of things about it, but just as a teenager in the 80s growing it, I can tell you that as a late night Friday TV show, it was very expensive at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Mann was the executive producer on it, so listening to some stuff he said like, hey, I'm in charge of it. I have complete creative control over it. But obviously, Yerkovich or whatever his name is, the guy who's responsible for more of the show running stuff too for the first few seasons. It's more his show, but that doesn't mean Michael Mann says no. This is how I want it filmed. This is the shot I want, and we'll talk about that as we get into some of these stills here. But I got to tell you, it wasn't that popular. And a lot of people didn't think Don Johnson was going to make it. Just he'd been around for 10 plus years at this point, at least already. I remember him on Kung Fu and the boy the boy and his dog, a Harlan Ellison movie, and it worked.
It really shocked.
Did it work?
It really shocked me when I learned, or actually when I read that, saying it wasn't really popular at first. I'm thinking like right away, John Johnson's acting in here. Like, dude. He may have the pretty boy kind of face, but he actually doesn't come off like a douchebag. He actually comes off as a very likable guy. He's a guy, obviously, him and his wife are kind of on the outs, but he still shows up for his kid's birthday. He wants to be there. She's giving him the lip service because he's late for the party, but his friend had just blown up like a couple hours ago, so he's kind of like drunk a little bit. But he's still polite though. He doesn't snap at her though.
Yep.
He's respectful. And I'm just thinking, like, the writing on this show was just fantastic. And overall, every character in here, they all mingled together. It wasn't like we're gonna like cut to like, okay, let's see what these 6 other people are doing. Who gives a shit? The main characters in here are gonna be Michael Tubb, and you're gonna have John Johnson character, Sonny Crockett, and then how they come together to meet. And let me guess. Like, if a lot of people probably have never seen this, and if you have seen it, maybe today kids won't appreciate as much because it's not PC. There is a guy dressed up in here, and who actually comes Martin Ferrero actually who later on becomes their informant Izzy throughout the series in the
Yes.
pilot movie, is dressed up in drag, and he's a killer trying to kill people. So it's like that would not fly with today's society, and just they would say that Sonny's toxic. Same, especially with Tubbs too. Tubbs at the strip club. You got the scene here where he's
you will see
dancing.
plenty of strip clubs in this series, sir.
Yes.
And bikinis.
Best way to describe this: if you ever had the chance growing up in the 90s, or not 90s, but early 2000s, I think it was GTA Vice City was pretty much based off of this.
100%.
Yes, and everything is shot in Miami. The opening credits on I believe on the original version, the movie version, does I think it lists James Edward almost, but he's not in it.
I don't recall, because he will show up in a few more episodes for sure.
No, but this had the longer synth wave though, also too. This original opening.
The theme is going to change.
Yeah, they go from the Firelight, keyboard synth wave to a guitar riff, electric guitar riff in the series, which kind of like this original version better. Not to say that the other one for the TV series, the theme was bad. It still kept the same kind of stuff. But overall though, like this very first hour and a half pilot, it's still fantastic. Every time I watch it, this is a show where I can watch over and over again and not be bored by it. There's very few shows.
One of the things that comes out if you watch it, you mentioned it before, it was shot in Miami, but everything has that you and I like. It has the natural lighting for the most part. It has some indoor set stuff, right? But the fact that it was shot on location, very expensive to do, it really does capture the flavor. And I still think this is the gold standard of shows that does
pyrotechnics, the helicopter shots. This is the drone shots. Everything's drone shots today. This is all when they're on a speedboat being chasing whatever, or in a car. It's all doing the helicopter flying over.
Yep.
Which really stands out. Because drones now, you can tell it's a drone because they just go up and then pauses, and like helicopters can't do that.
It's like a YouTube short or something off of TikTok.
Yeah. Not only that, look at everything in here. The way that we were dressing back in the 80s, 1984, the Walkmans. If anybody had a Walkman, the cassette players on the cars,
boomboxes.
Yeah, boomboxes.
Denim. A lot of breakdancing, a lot of cultural stuff that as it would change is going to be.
There's guys breakdancing in the grab when we meet Sonny.
And I will tell you, growing up and born and raised here in Central Florida, seeing everything from the old citrus industry and other things that just don't exist anymore and how things are now. It's now a generation or so later. Miami, I had been down there several times in the 70s and early 80s, and it was thought of as an older, quieter retirement community. And yes, there's hotels and it's the beach and all that too, but there was a big generational transformation to it after the success of the show in the 90s. Vegas went through a very similar thing too, with a lot of money being poured down there. But I think the idea of the whole drug thing with Scarface and everything now, cocaine and the whole 80s attitude and all that was really starting to come into play. And just I want everybody to understand that this show was intentionally tried to be everything that every other show wasn't. The Browns, the Grays, all that kind of stuff, Hill Street Blues, any of your old 70s shows, which are good. Do not get me wrong. They're fantastic. We like them. But they deliberately intentionally tried to make something different, even the way they told the story, because they spend pretty much the first out of the 3 acts basically dealing with Tubbs and how he comes to be. And then Sonny's the second, and the third is them working together. So I really liked how they set this all up. It feels very good.
And they really set up Tubbs to be the heartthrob of the show.
He's a good-looking man.
No.
I think, and he's very sophisticated. He's an equal. He's not subordinate.
No, yeah, he's definitely equal. They give him. Dude's always got it. And if you watch the series, he's showing off his chest hair. He's always the ladies' man. He is the guy that a lot of guys looked up to and wanted to be. Sonny Crockett was more like the guy responsible, kind of like that. He's more mature a little bit more because he has a kid. He has a wife who he still cares about, and like there's a whole storyline throughout in the first season. Are they gonna get back together or not? They got to deal with this Colombian hitman guy in this first pilot who's trying to like target them. So it's like it literally this whole series was fantastic. I'm currently going through season 3, but rewatch this again. It's just like I love it because not only you get Phil Collins in the year tonight, but you also got I always feel like somebody's watching me. There's quite a few different
It starts
songs.
off with the Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, yeah. Walking through Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's a lot,
and it fits because Central Park was at this time was still a crime.
Yeah, big cities were not thought of well,
No.
especially in the 80s, particularly New York.
Well, yeah, you're coming off the 70s. You're going, even though you're in the mid 80s, you still had so much crime in New York. And look at New York right now. New York is full of crime again. You know.
Well, let's start going through the episode. I understand you might got some picks. Start taking us away here, sir.
All righty, so I'm gonna screen share here. No, but overall, like I said, this first episode, the music, the camera angles, pretty much. Hey, what's up, Desert Rose? Hold on. There you go. So I'm just gonna go through the IMDb, but this is from the episode itself. So in case you've never seen this show before, let's go a few stills. So we got the promotional for the VHS movie back in the day, which I am sure is worth quite a few pennies if you can find it. The logo, you know.
Now, right here, real quick, let me add to the fact that even though we got everybody dressed up and there's reasons for it, seizure laws where that you can take stuff and you could use it, and so they both have their own, as we'll discover, their own undercover persona that they've done, and his is basically a guy that can ride a motorboat pretty fast and all that, like a race car. And Don Johnson legitimately, I think, does that, and he was known for that down here. The big thing about him as being as a cop is he's kind of an emotional. He's from the University of Florida. That's why he has Elvis the gator on his boat, and that's like an odd. And I go, wait a minute. If he was in Vietnam, that means he probably played in the 60s. So he probably was a teammate of Steve Spurrier, who would later on go and coach at the University of Florida and become probably their most famous and successful coach in the 90s. And Coach Spurrier is retired. I think they got a statue of him and all that too. And if you're in Florida at the time, honestly, I'm being real, you're either a Gators fan or a Seminoles fan, because Bobby Bowden just started in the late 70s, I think, and all that. And that was a big thing. But at the time, I'm telling you, RDB, college football was so massive in football in Central Florida. It still is, but Miami Hurricanes was a big deal after winning the championship recently. So it was interesting that, the part of his character that we hear in it would just be something that would come to fruition throughout the 90s and all that was Steve Spurrier. That kind of popped me a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, that hadn't happened yet. All right.
I want to get us on the screen so you get full screen there. There you go.
Yeah, that looks good.
Plus, you're going to see this a lot because and this version of Sonny throughout the series, he's constantly angry because he has to butt heads with people. So this is him with the dirty cop, the dirty lieutenant. He's working for the Colombian.
That was his partner, and he's pissed at him. Yeah. Oh, that's such a great scene. This is right at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I've always loved his hair. I'm going to be honest with you. His hair is just on point. This is when Tubbs is watching the plant guy that got involved in the blow up kind of on his own. And this is where we see the shot from the waist down of this elegant looking lady with her hand purse that ends up being the assassin.
Yeah. So
I like how they filmed that so you wouldn't see the face, right? Because the trick is later that somebody dressed in drag.
So Tubbs has his in the series, he has this guy named Rico. He's always Jamaican man, That's his main undercover accent, when he joins the actual series. But overall, like I said, so Tubbs, his older brother was killed. His cop was killed by the Colombian guy. So he's hell bent on catching this guy. And of course, now when he meets up with Sonny, whose partner was blown up by a car bomb. They both want revenge against this guy and they're trying to capture him. So they're kind of forced to work together with each other. And of course, my favorite scene is always when he meets Elvis. But here's the stinger that he's driving. He's in the movie. But as you get into the actual episode, it actually changes color scheme, and it has an arch on the top. So they do change the boats.
Stuff, but I mean, big deal.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. Yeah. at the birthday party, you know, giving the puppy
This
dialogue.
was the best. Well, to me, this is the only scene I laughed at because his partner had been blown up with a car bomb. He's got dirt on his white linen jacket in the left corner, and he shows up there. And what would turn out to be the crooked guy, the leak in the group there in his police station is there. And the kid loves his dad, and he's like, Daddy, Daddy. And he goes, look, I found this toy out here on the yard here. He's
on
like,
the lawn here.
Can I open it?
Yeah.
And he opens it, and they're like kind of bitching. I'm like, oh, you're late, missing your son's birthday. It's like, yeah, no shit. We don't like, we know that as a man, right? Like that.
Well,
and he just says, oh, well, he blew up today or whatever like that. And when a kid opens it up, it's a cop car and he's sucking them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, your partner just blew up. You're getting divorced probably. And you gave your son a cop car. That was so ironic, though. I laughed out of that out of irony, not funniness.
You know, because he still got the wound and stuff, you know, on his forehead from the car bomb. His suit is covered in dirt and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, but Tubbs' little sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah, that's his weapon of choice, at least early on. We saw it in New York, and he brought it down with him. Because this is a revenge angle, actually. He comes down here. He actually kind of forged paperwork to say that he was doing it because there would always be a delay in checking those
he went
things out.
rogue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. This was funny, too. In the very beginning opening scene, we heard this is from when Tubbs actually was about to get carjacked. And the guy's like, hey, man, you get 3 guys. They're all hip-hoppers, you know. And then the one's got the boombox. Hey, buddy, can you give me $20? Man, he's like, how about I give you something else? They're like, oh, because the guy pulled a knife out, and Sonny pulls out his shotgun. They're like, oh shit, let's get out of here. Yeah. And he basically wanted to tail the Colombian and his limo to the basically the nightclub scene.
Yeah.
So
that's the same shootout at the end.
Yeah, I wish these were. So the only thing sucks. I wish these were okay. I could do that.
There you go.
There you go. I'll make it a little bigger. You know, this is a scene also too. Randomly from the scene where he basically they're going to go at the Colombian.
This is calls his wife.
And this is also when you have In the Air Tonight is playing too. The background.
It's just starting, and then it just plays while they're driving around. And this is kind of what Miami Vice did. It was different. It's one thing to have a score, music, or the scary music when something bad's going to happen, or a happy thing, or whatever. But there's just a slight moodiness to the show. And honestly, season 1's a little up and down, and season 2 really nails it. But it gets a little bit kind of darker, and I don't mean darker as in like horribly negative, but he is a cop. He is dealing with bad stuff. He is around all the time.
There are people that will
take it very seriously here. And here he's asking his ex-wife, or soon to be probably, hey, is the time we had together, was it real? She says, of course it was. You know, then whatever she says afterwards, whether you agree it or not, he had to have that confirmation. You're like, that's telling you that he's going to go out because he might be able to die. And he just
the long pause.
Exactly.
Before he talks her.
He's a good actor, Don Jossie, and he's one of the first actors that had, to me, the original puppy dog eyes. Seriously.
Yes.
He does. He's got that. And he's got great lips, and his hair is pretty decent too.
Not a crybaby, but you can tell that he's very, very emotional. He is, you know, he's real. He's real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Like I said, when he first calls her, he calls her and he doesn't speak at first, but then he asks, after like a few seconds, he's like, was it ever real?
Yeah. You're like, man, that's pretty good. And why am I buying this 45 minutes to an hour into a brand new TV show that I've never watched and really know anybody out?
Yeah.
Now, you look at Tubbs, you tell me this guy's not a good looking guy. Now, here's the thing. In the 80s,
the earrings. Yep.
Well, yeah, I was going to mention the earrings because tattoos weren't socially the norm as they are today. And wearing earrings on one side versus the other usually indicates things or whatever, depending on if you believe in that, but there's like a social thing to it. So at the time, any male wearing an earring, you immediately questioned their sexual orientation or nature and all that. So for him to wear this publicly, and he's a very handsome, good-looking guy, and he's not,
and it's only his left ear
at all in the way he acts or dresses or like that. And we'll find out what happens with his character later on in the show. He's definitely very hetero, but he's a damn looking guy. Look at Jimmy Smits. Look at Jimmy Smits right
Jimmy
here.
Smits.
Jimmy Smits is the one that gets blown up and get whacked. This is the first time he's acting.
Do you know where first time I saw Jimmy Smits was?
Dexter? Was he in Dexter?
No,
Huh?
Switch.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking it said that was him with Ellen Barkin.
I don't know. I don't recall.
Oh, I think it was a little bit older when that movie came out, but it said a lot of these actors, you're like, for me, from growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, I was like, I want to go to watch it the first time, like last year. I was like, I've seen all these people but I don't remember their names.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing. Like my first experience with John Johnson was Nash Bridges.
Exactly.
So
yes, that's what he would do after this.
Go back to the scene after the birthday party.
Now in the back, if you look at the windows, you see those bars?
Keep people from coming in.
Well, I'm not saying she lived in a poor area, but older Florida homes have a certain sort of brick construction thing to them. Really, really prevalent here in Central Florida for a lot of neighborhoods in the South
too, as well.
Well, yeah, because you would have what would call a jalousied window that could really hold up, and the idea is kind of you could adjust the airflow going in and out, and you still see a lot of them today. Now, of course, newer construction, no, but there's the beauty of watching the show is even though it's television and the color things, the way they set stuff up and the way they dress. If you look here, what do they have in the middle? They've got a white lamp in the middle is their main light source, split up by a red thing that's splitting them off into two halves. She's got the peach side over to her. He's got the green side over there. And you see that line in the couch. That's not an accidental shot. But here's the thing that I love about the show. Everybody looks normal. I'm not saying they're ugly. I'm not saying they're good looking. They just don't look like they're made up people that just are a pretty face. They look like ordinary, normal people that should meet, the houses and all that, except for when they're, doing the drug stuff and all that and strip clubs and all that. But the bums that you would see sitting on the streets that they would film, like we've said in old TV and movies, a lot of that background stuff, that's legit and real. So kind of scummy, but they would visit all parts of Miami at the time.
It didn't feel like a set. It actually felt like a real home.
Correct.
Like it felt like my grandma's home.
Well, and you would see this in a lot of Miami Vice, that everything that they filmed outside in the open is somewhere in the greater Miami area, whether it's north, south, west of it, whatever. It's there,
the fashion design back then for the couches and all that stuff.
Everybody had a couch like they had, like what she's sitting on. Absolutely, they did. I can't tell you what type it is, but I can tell you that design was kind of a thing from the 70s going into the 80s.
And that you said you remember mentioning the bars on the window. I had the bars on my door going to my breezeway, the old door like that with the glass, and it has the iron bars.
Yeah.
So guys, like I said, there's always a shirtless scene with Tubbs because they knew that he was a good-looking dude.
If you had a shirt like him, wouldn't you want to show it off? I mean, any opportunity for you as a male to take your shirt off in a role, I think you should take.
He was like the Sean Connery of the series to me, because I remember Sean Connery in every James Bond movie, they always got to show him shirtless, or
Yeah. So, noticed a lot of the gold jewelry too. That became very.
And the other thing too is they always show him shirtless and stuff, but they never show what's his name, John Johnson, really much.
They did in this episode. I don't know how much they did later.
But I'm saying in the series that I know, as I watched the first and second season, it's like John Johnson always has a t-shirt on or a tank top, muscle shirt, whatever. He never really takes his shirt off, unless he's changing. But for the most part, it's always Tubbs. There's always finds a way to be shirtless in the episode. Okay,
go ahead.
This is the original lieutenant who's only there for the first 4 episodes of the first season.
Yeah, this was probably, singularly speaking, if you guys ever watch a clip on this, kind of how these two meet. And it's not necessarily the official meeting, but the genius part to this is when they meet, it's as their undercover personas. The quote-unquote deal goes bad, and then Tubbs kind of runs off in the boat, and Crockett's chasing him. And, of course, this is complete TV 101, right? There's no way you can do that. But there's this little area where they kind of turn or whatever like that, and all of a sudden you see him turning the boat motor down low, looking around, seeing if he's escaped, and he's going underneath this drawbridge, and it's a great singular shot. And this is something Michael Mann, I'm sure, had input on, because we've seen so many fantastic shots of Thief. It's just tremendous.
But it's also
John Johnson's on the outside of it, so when it passes underneath, he jumps in and punches him, and then that's when they go, "Hey, check my ID" or whatever. This was something you would not see in normal TV. I mean, you just wouldn't. I mean, Wild Wild West, sure, for stunts, but not like the way they do it here.
This is also the standard for what you're going to see for their outfits throughout the first season.
Yep.
Johnson always wears the bright colored, Floridian,
That's a nice salmon
outfits.
colored kind of
Yeah,
outfit
where
there.
Tubbs
82.
dresses like he's still from New York. He wears those dark suits.
Yes.
Eventually, he gets like the little brighter suit, but not. But it's not like nowhere near like Don Johnson. Don Johnson, they did it purposely, so it's basically how they'd stand out apart from one another, which I like throughout the series.
Yeah, and Don Johnson, or both of them really, old classic pants from men for the most part used to not have a belt with it, and they would see how that's sitting across from him horizontally right at his navel. That's how dress pants are supposed to fit. And of course, I can't tell if he's wearing socks there, but primarily they don't. Here in Florida, with the heat and the humidity, 8-9 months of the year,
I don't think he is.
Common look. A lot, even old money and rich money. A lot of times you see people walk around in suits and all that, and they're wearing dress shoes, especially if they're European and they're not having it. So there's definitely that European flair in Central Florida and South Florida style.
Can't remember a single scene where he's wearing socks. I don't think he wears socks the whole entire series.
We'll see. We're going to have the sock camera, on as we're reviewing over the next few months.
Because seriously, because I remember, that's one thing I cringe about when I see people walk around with no socks. I'm like, ooh, your feet are blistery.
If you got the right shoe, they're not.
Ugh.
But their shoes will stink.
There we go. This is the one shirtless scene you get in here, where he meets Tubbs, and he also gets to meet Elvis afterwards.
That was supposed to be the mascot there at the University of Florida or whatever, and somehow it ended up on his boat.
I love it. Like,
he's completely different,
I love the fact that Tubbs is so freaking afraid of Elvis too. He's like, oh, he's just a big baby, and so they eventually in the series they get rid of Elvis after a while because Don Johnson got to the point where he couldn't go near him. He got so scared. It was like, dude, and he was an older alligator, even though it's like he was trained. He's like, yeah, no, but he does help out because when people have a guard dog and they're like, oh, it's a little dog in there. No, it's a big dog. People when robbers try to break in, he had that as his guard dog. So
it's also kind of, if you watch Scarface by this point, and everybody loved Scarface. I think a lot of reviewers thought it was too violent, too what's the word I'm looking for here? Like it was kind of like too derogatory or exploitative of different ethnicities and the culture down here.
Yeah.
But it nailed something at the time that was so rich. And this is not Scarface, but that whole vibe was really popular. And what do you do to differentiate yourself? This is badass. This is what you're going to have if you're undercover. You're going to live on a really fast boat there. Something like that totally makes sense. If it was crazy and weird and silly, you're going to see it like that. So I think it was a nice addition to his character. Otherwise, you might feel he's a little ho-hum. I think he, as a Gator from the University of Florida and an athlete, has a Gator on his boat in a place that has nothing but Gators. And I'm telling you, I think it's because of this is why people associate Gators with Florida if they're not from here. You see these all the time. In a month or two from now, when I drive over the lake, if I'm going somewhere in the morning, a big one here close by, these guys will all be laying out in the sun. It's getting to be nesting season and all that too. So I just thought this was kind of cool because we're going to see tons of cocaine, girls and guns and all that. If I throw in a Gator in there, it's just so Florida to it. This is a Florida show.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what movie we're watching reviewing. Was it Malibu Express where they also lived on a boat?
Oh, maybe. Yes, maybe.
Yeah. It was, and it looked like a train or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I just remember that was 1985. So yeah, I think it was Malibu Express. But yeah, people living on houseboats was a popular thing, You see this throughout other TV shows too, and sometimes other movies as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But most people, because he's undercover thing, so he's basically always on the go, and he has a sailboat. He has a sailboat where he lives, but he has a speedboat he uses for running drugs and stuff for people. Or at least that's his undercover gig.
I will say this: sometimes you create something. The expression is you begin with the end in mind. Yeah. I'm not saying that happened here, but the fact that where he's at, and you can see a lot of the background while they're talking, stuff like that, sucks you in as a viewer because you get to see everything and listen to it and all that. It's not just you met him at the desk or whatever like that too. That will come into play much more later on. The boat will be a significant.
The great thing about this is if you live in Florida and you've been around these areas, you recognize them too.
Yep.
And then plus, especially you being older, you're like, going back and revisiting, so like, wow, that's what he used to look like. Remember that? You know,
Mhm.
now it's totally changed.
Mhm.
And for me, being a viewer from up north, you know, I've never really been to Florida. It's cool that I love like looking at like, you know, different parts of the world without having actually to go there. It's cheaper, but I mean, like, it's cool to see stuff like that. You
And
know?
part of it being filmed, though, RDV, we've mentioned this before, is it captures
Yeah,
whatever the natural lighting is on that day with the ambient conditions
exactly. There's
specific
no
to the
like,
community. Like,
yeah,
when I look at those glasses that he has there, the 2 there in
the Ray Bans.
front of there and all that. When I say glasses, I mean the actual drink glasses there, and that, it's like a 3-cup holder underneath the, inverted U right there, lower left-hand corner, right in
Yeah,
front of his hands. You can look at that and just see, and then look at the wood, and you go, "Yeah, that's what it looks like when it's kind of
yeah,
sweltering up." But there's like a
yeah,
sweatness that happens
yeah.
on a lot of stuff here in
That's
Florida.
actually Tubbs' hand. He's trying to keep the thing from the gator
Yeah.
hearing him. Uh, but yeah, he drops his Ray Bans in the very first scene there we go with Sonny, and that's what allows him to see the car bomb. He goes to where an Eddie, and the bomb goes off.
Mhm.
But he always wears the shades throughout the whole entire time. Of course, this was always a scene too.
Let me set this up. So
Yeah.
basically, the first half of it, or third of it, is you see Tubbs. He's down there in Miami. He's looking for the this guy that we would know as Calderon or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So then now we start meeting Sonny a little bit and all that too. And the whole subplot here basically is that they're trying to set up a drug deal. It goes bad. They kind of get forced to work with each other, or they agree to do so. And as this is going on, the one guy that that Sonny harasses and basically says, "Hey, look, I know you work for Calderon. The explosion that happened, it took my buddy out. He's undercover." And what he does is, the guy's going to jail, and so he goes in front of the judge. But Sonny, and this is some of the things that we don't ever talk about when we review stuff about the politics behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But what Sonny did, you don't see this today or in modern politics, the telling of the backstory. Sonny's basically this portraying cops as them being smart and proactive. He had already worked out with the judge, hey, let this guy go free. That way I can tail him and get a lead on the bigger fish. So when the guy comes out, he's freaking and he's making phone calls because they're trying to trace his calls. And then when they follow him and all that too, he lets them know when the other deal goes. But in prison and here, the lights go out for a split second. Everybody draws their weapons like, don't you move. And this is a little overkill for me. But
Not
there are
for me.
judges that would be very hardcore. You don't hear about it anymore, but Florida, there's still 1 or 2.
So I laughed at this too because we all know about the famous sheriff that's over down in Florida right now. Says, you know what?
That's Polk County.
Yeah, Polk County is like, yeah, you shoot him.
Yeah,
Arm
that's
yourself.
territory, bro.
Yeah.
For real. I'm not joking.
Save us the paperwork.
He's in the middle of that.
So I love this. Like, you know, everybody being pro Second Amendment down there. You know.
Yeah.
So here we go again. Here's the now Tubbs with the updated suit. And I love this because throughout the series, you get Sonny Crockett will always be like, sometimes he'd be like the guy working for Tubbs' undercover character, Rico,
Mhm.
you know. But then in this one, it's he uses a different name. I forgot which one it was.
Right.
But so yeah, the whole thing is they're always trying to buy drugs or guns, you know, and say, hey, give us make a deal, we'll give you the money stuff, and we can push this for you.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, they're always the big guys. And yeah, it said now wearing these suits, now Sonny's probably a little bit cooler, but still warm because you're down here in Florida. It's humid down there.
You know what that is though? If you look at that suit, you see how it's kind of wrinkly a little bit. I'm not saying big. That's linen.
Yeah.
Cotton stuff.
Yes.
Breathes, and so does wool.
Yes.
The wool's very heavy. Linen, if you've ever wore linen, it's probably like up there with cashmere with how seductive and silky and just sensual it feels. Linen like this in a tropical environment, which you definitely, I believe that's linen to me. I believe all that's linen. This is a big deal because it breathes so well. It's kind of like what you should wear if you're in Florida a lot, but most people wear polyester or cheap stuff and all that, so they get hot, sweaty, and sticky and all that. They don't wear cotton or linen like they should. But linen, you know, suits as we would see it in Man with the Golden Gun with Scaramanga, played by Christopher Lee. Those are beautiful linen suits too. So James Bond always did a very good job, whatever environment he was in, wearing clothes that were appropriate for it, for the most part.
Yeah, but even then, it's like these suits here. Like I'd still be warm. I hate humidity.
You would die. You would die, bro. Everybody does. Nobody talks about humidity enough.
No.
You should try it though.
But here's our bad guy. I always called them calzone.
Calzone. Oh, that's so wrong.
I know. Because Cardone, yeah. But I was
He
like,
did a good job in this episode, though.
no.
Came across as sufficiently menacing without having to overdo it. Smart.
He's the one guy that's untouchable. The whole thing, they try to pin him down him. They get him arrested at the end of the episode.
It lasts 2 minutes.
yeah. Like the judge, like, we can't hold them. That's if evidence, so they let him go, and they race in their car to try and stop him, but he gets on the plane and he flies away.
I believe they called him Orlando Calderon, but I think that changes later.
Yeah.
So I popped at that because sometimes when you hear Orlando mentioned in TV shows, I clearly remember it from that spy show with, hey, I'm Michael Sexton, I'm a spy. That one there. I clearly them talking about Orlando as a backup city.
But Calzone, or I'm sorry, so Calderon, Calderon does come back in the season.
Yeah, he ain't going anywhere.
No. So that's what I liked about it. I'm glad he wasn't like a one-time thing. It actually gave him if you watch Bosch had a underlying like a subplot where he's trying to solve his mother's death, murder. So this is them trying to get throughout the series. They're trying to go after him, and sometimes a lot of times they find that he's actually involved with things, the little stories they're doing, and so the whole season's kind of focused on him. Even though we have other stories in there, but he's always underlying like threat. Especially when he tries to have them like assassinated. He has people because all he knows what they are.
And while we're kind of doing a non-linear explanation of this episode here, guys, I think one of the interesting here is one, RDV and I are trying kind of a little bit of a different format, tinkering with it, so feedback's always appreciated. But at the same time, me watching this RDV, what I'm struck by is not all the things we're gushing over, the sexiness of it, the colors and all that kind of stuff. It's the fact that they're doing something completely different. The way they're telling the story is different. But also, there's a sense here of
the cassettes.
I'm going to talk about the cassettes because I see Journey, I see Saga in there. There's the white one there. On the Loose is incredible tune, and Wind 'Em Up and a bunch of others. I mean, God, and I think they may even have music in there later. I recognized a lot of them, but he focuses on the country stuff like George Jones, who had a really popular dog food at the time.
Yeah.
But this is different, and for some reason, I just feel compelled to watch it. And a lot of people would say that this is a thin show, and they didn't really care about the writing that much. And at the end of the day, if you have Calderon and he's not that physically imposing, but if he does his job well enough, and there's the echo of how dangerous he might be in the background, that's all that matters. Because whatever little stupid, ABC plot that they might have for an episode of the week, drug deal or pimp or prostitution thing gone wrong or whatever it is, that you still know there are bigger things that can happen in the background. And I think that's one of the things that the show will do well as we continue to review it, is to present that they're there. Yeah, they'll have the goofball of the week that we'll start seeing here pretty soon as far as their guest stars. But to have guest stars come over like this way the show does, again, brand new at the time. For the most part.
Izzy becomes their main foreman on here, but we also have Leon too as well. Quite a few of them, and it's pretty good. I like it. So
that's what you used to do. You would have a suitcase that would have your cassettes in it.
I have one of those old-fashioned wooden sliding drawers for the cassettes. So it looks like it'd go match your entertainment center, your wooden entertainment center, which I still have. So I got one of those for like real cheap. I was like, dude, because I have a bunch of DVDs, but I also have a bunch of cassettes still I have left.
So I have the walls back in the day, bro. Those things would be lined up like you wouldn't believe.
I remember Camelot Music. Dude, they had like the cassettes were like you see the CDs, or they're in those like protective jewel cases, and you pull them out. It's almost like you're pulling out a hard drive because it's the long rectangle thing.
Yes.
So you couldn't steal it.
Plastic.
Yeah, anti-theft device. So they had it for the cassettes too as well. And I was like, I have one of the zipper pouches actually for the cassettes there, the rectangle ones. Yeah. Of course, here's the wife again too, and the son, and very simple stuff. Here it wasn't like it's very much, you could tell of the 80s. You had the yellow phones. You had the simple colors as far as like food as well.
Pastels.
Yeah.
No earth tones.
No. We get the scene here. This is actually from the actual one they start playing in the air tonight.
They let the majority of it play.
Yes.
I'm not going to say
They didn't
start to
talk. It
finish.
was just them driving.
And you're like, oh my God, because it was that being attached to this scene. I'm telling you, RD.
This scene.
Some people say, hey, I was watching the show and these cops are driving around listening to In the Air Tonight. And you're like, oh, you mean that Phil Collins song or whatever? The guy was in Genesis. And you're like, yeah. And you're like,
and
the guy
guess
that
who
did
makes
Against
it?
All Odds. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're watching it and you just feel it.
Yeah. Well,
that's the beauty of it.
Well, it's just a song. The whole song is like, I saw what you did. It's all been a pack of lies.
Yep.
It fits so well with this for the whole story overall. And then, of course, Phil Collins does show up in one of the episodes in season 2.
Phil the Shill. Yep.
Yep. The Rat Show. Rat Race. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, again, we get this angle here of the car. It's like James Caan reminding you, hey, this is who I am. The last time we saw anything like this was Thief.
Thief, exactly. The side car shot, or what we call it. We might have seen the occasional shot like that while they were filming a stunt, like in some William Friedkin stuff, like French Connection and whatnot. But this popularized this particularly. And that's why all of them use it now, because it still works.
Yeah. Of course, again, here's the scene again where he calls his wife after driving, pulls over, still no word whatsoever. He calls and she's like, Sonny, is that you, Sonny? And he's like, was it all worth it? I love so badass the scene. And of course, I love the cafe thing though in the back there, just kind of randomly.
Yeah.
The neon colors.
Look at the skyline.
Yes.
This is on film, whatever day they shot it, right after dusk. Some lights on or off, you could tell.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which part of Miami that is. I don't know it that well. But here's the thing. Whatever the skyline might look now, whenever you see skyline shots, everything's so digital looking, and sometimes they take it and they project it. Sometimes they print it like on a curtain and put a bright light on it for a background. And I get it, and you're not really supposed to look at it. But when you film it like this and have this depth where, again, your eye goes, left to right, top to bottom, so you see the cafe sign here, and those are the two cars we talked about, and you see it parked, and you know what's happening in the scene, even with no words. The car parked there, he's making a phone call, and it's against the city. It's a dark, something bad is going to happen. The music's getting ready to play. It's already priming you for what's about to happen. It's simple, but we don't see this a lot setting up a shot. So emotionally,
this is shot from inside a parking lot of Bernie's Cafe. So you're actually looking out to the road where there's a phone booth there right by the harbor. So, and plus, I kept thinking it's like it's Bill and Ted, bro.
Don't ruin it with Bill and Ted, please.
Oh, I improved it, bro. It's excellent.
Hey, pal, if you want to continue this review, you won't say that anymore. Because the Powell quotient, I stopped counting at 5 in this episode, so we'll get more.
There goes, and then of course we have his Ray-Bans again, those famous glasses.
Yeah, between him and Tom Cruise, that's what made them go from like cheap ass glasses to like, I remember pricing them at the time, and they were like $70, $80, and 80s money when minimum wage is like $3.25. So think about 20-25 times minimum wage what they'd be now. They'd be $300 glasses at least.
Then Stallone was wearing them in Cobra. Yep. I think he had a pair, and then also I'm trying to think of it was in Terminator, which is like what 82,
84.
Was it right? 84? Was it this year 84. Too? Well, okay.
It was this year. 84 is a solid year, bro. This is him and his boss kind of going over it because the boss wants him to do stuff by the book. Oh, I haven't gotten the reports of all. And the boss wasn't a dick, but the scene is supposed to basically right after blowing up to let us know that Sonny's a very loyal guy. He's very basic when it comes to how he does stuff and all that.
The boss was upset at him because he didn't follow his procedures. He's like, I'm undercover. Like, if the last time I called you guys, I almost got blown away a couple different times.
Yeah.
And the lieutenant's like, are you saying there's a leak in there? I'm like, well, there has to damn well be, because what else? That's why I don't reach out to you guys anymore.
Well, the other thing too, this is a subtle jab of people that, like, if I'm a soldier and I have a task, or you're hiring me to do something, I'm in charge. Don't tell me how to do every single step. Yeah, exactly. That's bullshit. Like the front office telling a coach what to do, or somebody telling you how to run a project doesn't work. This is him going to his partner's wife's fiance, where she works at a diner. And if you haven't ever had this happen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't wish any ill on anybody, but life happens. And if you haven't had to go tell somebody bad news. That's the beauty of the scene. He just stares at her, and look how sad he looks. Puppy dog,
Well, I
right?
love the fact that he walks in the diner. She sees him. She, hey, Sonny, and he has this look on his face, and she starts noticing it. And she runs to the back room, and he follows her over there as he's walking behind everybody else. And then the busboy's going to go back over and put himself in, but the cook's like holds him back, let him have a moment.
Yeah, that's great acting.
And then she's in there, and she's basically hitting his chest, and then she's crying because he's dead.
Yeah.
You know. And the crazy part though is that Eddie was talking about, Jimmy Smits was talking about, he's like, hey, Sonny, you're when we first meet him, he's like, I don't want my wife, or fiance, I don't want her working. Is that too old fashioned to me? It's like, it's like I want her to be comfortable. I want to provide for her.
Yeah.
How often do you hear that today?
Yeah. I mean, and this show is very progressive in that there is an extremely diverse cast. This is a flashback of Tubbs showing us he's not just a hot, sexy
older brother who was shot and killed by Cardone.
So Calderon, not Calzone.
Yeah.
That's going to be a running theme, I can tell. No, we've got a few more. What do we got left?
Yeah, this is just basically the collector's edition. If you had the movie case, that's all it was, really. Not much. Gotcha. But they just show James Elmer almost in here, which I thought was kind of fun in the background, even though this is the movie. Girls just want to have fun, and it also has Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell, which is All Night Long is probably the biggest breakout song I remember from this.
So Rockwell was huge, that song, because the backup singing is Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And in the chorus, plus when you see it, this is when Tubbs is on his own trying to hook up with Calderon. So he's in a strip club for a couple of nights. The crooked cop comes in there and they have a meeting and talk, and that's how it gets set up. The stripper that's in there is dressed differently than how a stripper would be. But what I really loved about her performance was the fact that her eyes are looking forward instead of like seducing with your eyes one-on-one like a stripper does and all that. So she was kind of being exotic. And
she reminded me of a little bit of Pam Grier.
I could see that because she definitely has an exotic look to her, and she's got a big booty and all that too. And she's no skinny mini. But it's just the whole idea of strip clubs being prevalent when you're undercover or in grimy areas is there, And I love seeing them there because I go, this just looks, if you've been to strip clubs like this in Central Florida, that's what they look like, They're kind of seedy, but kind of fun, kind of cool,
This was the other VHS collection too, movie, the other version. And then these are just people that just did, I don't know where these are from, but it isn't from still because it's just basically people
just to make smash of some of these scenes,
Yeah.
Because at the end, basically what happens is Tubbs does get the meeting set up with Calderon, and then he gets a call from the one guy. And basically what is they know who the plant is, but there's a delay, there's a disconnect in the time of Sonny realizing that and getting the information because he's trying to find the leak. He thinks it might be the captain because the captain's sending his kid to a special private school, might be Catholic. And he's like, hey, I wish I could send my son there. And he's like, well, why don't you just ask me where I got the money? And he goes, where'd you get the money? And I love his boss reply. He goes, none of your business. And he would have said F if it was the movie, right?
Yeah.
But it turns out to be the other guy that we saw a little bit. So it's interesting because it was enough of a plot to kind of move everything along without overpowering the episode, because the episode is each of these guys as individuals together, learning to team up. And only briefly, I'll say this. We're introduced to some other side characters we'll get to know. Sonny basically with Trudy and the other one that he sleeps with on his boat.
Regina,
yeah, because they
Gina, Saundra, Santiago, get introduced to her.
Yeah.
So
we'll see all these characters more later.
Olivia Brown plays Trudy.
Yep.
And just like it's Scott Wheeler, or the character is played by Bill Smitrovich. He is the DEA agent, who works closely with the Vice Squad. He's the one that's been leaking everything to Cardone.
But that scene where Tubbs or Crockett figures out and he goes to the guy's house, it's an average house. It's the house we talked about. Right? So when they open the door, the beautiful shot of him standing there, hey, Sonny, why'd you come all the way out here? And he's basically like, we need to talk. and the wife's in the background. This is what you would see with old families. Your kids at the table eating dinner, and it's all in one shot. It's like, oh, aren't you joining us and all that? No, I can't. It's just something really quick. The kid's in the wheelchair and all that. And he's like, it's best if we do this outside.
Sonny's wife, Belinda Montgomery, smoke show on this. Very, very, she was, a lot of people don't know unless you're older. She was back on Hey Cinderella back in 1969, and then she was on films the Todd Killings and The Other Side of the Mountain, and she was kind of like a small time actor, but she was in a few other things before that. Martin Ferrero, he's in Jurassic Park. He was Donald Gennaro, and he's the guy. I think he gets eaten. Yeah. By the T-Rex while he's on the shitter.
That's the guy that would become Izzy. He's the cross.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. Izzy is one of the guys. He's I want to say he's more like, if he's Cuban or he's Greek, I can't tell what he's supposed to be, but he's basically a foreigner, and he's always running a scam artist. Some kind of con artist saying, he's like, hey, you want some of these? I got the VCRs here. I got these and stuff. All the bootleg stuff. I love it. Overall, this show, the music, just like Queen makes Highlander and what's the other movie? Flash Gordon great. The music really amps up these.
Oh my God, you named two great examples there, sir. I would add to that Tron, I think from 2010, when the guy goes into the arcade there and you hear some Journey playing in the background and all that, because I think was it Daft Punk, the movie or two that they've done the soundtrack for, the Tom Cruise one, Oblivion, I think they did as well.
We get Come to Papa by Bob Seger later in the series.
Oh yeah.
There's so many different awesome that. But I said the one I like the most is not in the air night. It was All Night Long by Lionel Richie, because it just fits. It fits the freaking Miami Vice area, Miami itself. We also have music. He's gonna get you by the what's your name?
Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan.
Yeah, Gloria Estefan adds a lot of views here. We get Fiona pops here too later on. We get Ted Nugent. Oh, it's just such a fantastic list of just recurring characters. People boast about Batman 66 having all these celebrities popping out of the windows. These are actually like I just kind of like that, but a little bit more detailed. We got the guy who plays Gustav Arnold, the guy who plays Gus Fringe or whatever Gustavo Fringe on Breaking Bad. He's in there like 3 different times. He plays
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, he plays 3 different characters there. Also, I said I love the fact that we have the nightclub scene. So if you're a fan of Scarface, you got that. They got that too. People doing coke in the bathroom. People trying to score coke, and just people just having fun. Girls in bikinis, rollerblading. There was no white Karens complaining, picketing. Well, people are like, well, that's make believe. No, it is actually like it's real. It's like there's none of that crap in here.
I will close with this. The people that are older that lived this show, I've often said, and it's one of the themes to the extreme movie shows. We talk it off the cuff because even though you and I are technically maybe in the same generation, we lived. I lived in the 80s, you lived in the 90s. Bixel lived in the aughts. Sometimes we have people younger and older that join us, right? So our viewpoints can be different. That's why we look at stuff current and old and see if we like it, what works and doesn't. And we try to find those things that seem why it works, whether it's generational and all that. And aside from all the love we gave it and all the glazing early on in this stream, I will say this. If you think about 1984, let me set the stage for you. Ronald Reagan, love him or not, no matter what your politics are, it is undisputable that he was a master of communication. He was, when the show aired, getting ready to, and within a month or two, have the biggest landslide of all time, much bigger, unlike the likes of it what anybody's ever seen before, or any other Trump's euphemisms, which sounds, like parody. Won 49 out of 50 states. I mean, just by this time, America was in full hardcore fuck yeah America mode, because everyone all of a sudden now was starting to make some money. The imbalance of things in the 70s seemed to settle down. It was one of the last periods of time until things started to slow down in the early 90s, financially, economically speaking, that society seemed to change. And so you would see that reflected in all the pop culture out there, and not just the politics of everything too. So the idea of partying and cocaine and going out and men and women and drinking and having sex and all that, and not being too Puritan about it like that, 100%. And honestly, even rapping at the time and street music and all that was very G-rated compared to how it is today. And you get to see where the urban influence gets to be so big. Why? Because rich, middle-class white people could now go buy what something would be called an Air Jordan 1984, which is the first very expensive shoe ever. And it became a ticket item, and other little trends that would continue to this day. So it's interesting that this show catches so much of it over the 4 or 5 year run that it had here too. So just to paint that picture of it, this show captures the 80s, I think, in a way that very few of the 80s shows do.
You get to see the more of the Ferrari Daytona Spider that he drives throughout this whole entire series, first season.
Hot car that is,
yeah,
man, nothing electric about that.
Yeah, and so I said back in the day, when as far as the show, the director was in an interview, they said it was written for the MTV audience, not for the old folks who watch Law and Order. It was written for the younger people, because all the music in there, it was just fantastic. A lot of people, like I said, when this came on, the show would air. It was like Friday nights at 10 o'clock. A lot of people would just stop what they're doing, because remember, you didn't have, if you had a VHS, it was kind of expensive back in '84. In 85, unless you had one. But most people, if they had one, their dad was using it to record something else. So you had to be home to watch this.
And this is when tape trading would become a thing.
Yes.
Seriously. It was,
hey, you got the new episode? Sure.
Bring it in. Do that.
Yeah. My older brother, he's 6 years older than I am. He'd be like, I remember back in the day, he had my grandfather would record wrestling for him. So because he said, like, by Monday morning, he's like, if you didn't watch that Saturday night events, you were the nerd. You were the kid that wasn't cool at all.
We'll see over season 1 here as you and I continue to review it throughout the spring, going into summer when it's over. And we'll do a review at the end here too. Next week's episode's obviously going to be more of, shorter. Obviously, we'll see how they set things up. Because right now we're in that starting kind of thing to it, but I'll be excited to talk about it. Great show, guys. Check it out. It's unfortunately the only place I saw it RDV, if you don't own it, is on Amazon to buy for like $1 or $2 an episode. It could be possibly available depending on where you're at, maybe on some stations that I just didn't catch, but I highly recommend seeing it.
This whole entire series is available to purchase through Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And so you can get it through there. I watched it last year through Tubi.
Yes,
Tubi had it. And I was like, as I got to the third season, like, Tubi's like, sorry, we no longer have the access. Like, it's the one thing you have to keep, Tubi. So I could finish it.
TJ Hooker, I think, moved to the Roku channel or something, and I tried that, but they have like one random episode or something. I think it has to do with like the music rights, because if you aren't seeing this with the music and all the rights and the editing, it's not worth it.
That's the one. Here's the thing too. I was afraid if this ever went to Netflix, we saw this with Charmed or some of the other shows, Black Panther. They changed the intro because they don't have the rights.
Yes.
Or
and they can
Netflix didn't want to buy the rights. They cheapened out. We don't want to pay for the music, so we're gonna cheapen out. But definitely, next episode next week is gonna be Heart of Darkness, and
Joseph Conrad. Thank you very much for that title.
Yes, I believe is the next one with Ed O'Neill.
I think so.
Yeah,
I've got an Ed O'Neill impersonation for you from Married with Children. You give me the drug money or die. That's always stuck with me since 1984, over 40 years now. That's how awesome
I'll just say this: when I saw Ed O'Neill in that next episode, holy crap! I'm used to him playing Al.
I know.
This was him not being Al. This was him being serious. It's kind of like watching Dutch.
Dutch was good. Yeah.
All right. If you guys like this format and want us to go through more of the slides next time, let us know down below in the comment section. We'll consider doing that. We'll see you guys next week then.
Tuesday night we have something coming up. I've got a few.
Okay. Yeah.
They're martial arts, but we'll talk offline.
Martial arts.
Yes, sir.
Good night, guys. Hit the like, click button, all it's off, smash that subscribe if you haven't done that, and we'll see you guys later. Later, guys. Thanks for watching.